Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This week, we are going to read Chapter 5 called Making a Budget Plan. Now, you guys have already read a total of 4 chapters about Mark, and just so you know, there are only 2 chapters left, and you will have completed the entire book. All right, so this week we will be tackling Chapter 5. Next week, your final week of school, we will read the last and final chapter, number 6. All right, so before we get started, let's recap a little bit about the journey that we have been on with Mark since the very beginning. If you think back to chapter 1, that seems like a long time ago, I know that. All right, Mark was playing video games with a friend. And that's when he first learned that if he got a job, he might just be able to buy himself his very own video game system. That was chapter 1. Chapter 2, Mark follows through with his plan. He ends up getting a job at the grocery store, and he is ready to begin working. He is happy. He cannot wait to start saving money for his video game system. That takes us to chapter 3. All right, and this is where Mark decides to save some of his earned money. He decides to save some of his money by putting it into a savings account where it will be safe at the bank, nobody will touch it, and it will be safe for him if he ever needs it in the future. He decided to put some of his money into a savings account and the rest of it into a checking account. That way, he can both save money and have money to spend if he needs it. In chapter 4, Mark ran into some trouble. He actually spent so much money that now he can't buy his video game system. He doesn't have enough money saved. He's stuck. All right, and that brings us to the next part of chapter 4, actually, where he decides to create a budget plan. All right, and this budget plan is meant to help him keep track of the money that he earns, that he spends, and that he saves. All right, and that leads us into today's chapter, chapter 5, Making a Budget Plan by Catherine Rotzman. All right, if you take a look at this photo here, you will see that Mark's budget is laid out for us. It shows us that the money he's earned is $200. He has $100 of money to spend, and $100 of that will be money he saves. These are ideas that we will learn about in this week's story. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a peek at what our pre-reading goal is. For today, I want you to focus on, while we read, what is one way that Mark uses his budget plan. At the end, you'll have some time to go back and discuss that with someone nearby. All right, so here we go, making a budget plan. Mark and his mother start to make a budget plan. A budget plan will help Mark save money. The budget plan shows how much money Mark earns each month. It will show how much money Mark needs to save each month. It will show how much money Mark can spend. Let's take a peek at this question at the bottom. It asks, what will the budget plan help Mark do? That's a good question. We should know the answer to that question. Take a moment to go back into the text and maybe take a look at some of the early sentences to learn a little bit more or to reread a little bit about how the budget plan can help Mark. Go ahead and pause and come back when you're ready. The video game system costs $300. Mark makes $200 a month. Mark figures out he needs to save $100 a month for 3 months. Then he can buy the video game system. He can spend the rest of the money he gets on other things. Mark writes how much he can save and spend on his budget plan. So let's take a look at this photo here, you guys. This photo shows us that Mark makes $200 in 1 month. All right, of that money, he decides that he will spend half of it, $100. He'll have some fun money to spend. And then the other $100 he is going to save. All right, this is part of his budget plan, so he can keep track of how much he is earning, how much he is spending, and how much he is saving. Back to our question, how long will it take Mark to save for his video game system? Go ahead and go back into the text. Perhaps sentence 2 will help you answer this question. Go ahead and pause and discuss. Mark follows his budget plan. Every 2 weeks, Mark brings his check from his job to the bank. He puts some of the money into his savings account. He keeps track of the money he spends and saves on his budget plan. All right, let's take a look at the question at the bottom. What is it that Mark does every 2 weeks? Where does he go? And what does he do? Go ahead and jump back into the text. Sentence 2 should help you answer this question. Go ahead and check it out. Mark works hard for the next 3 months. He saves $300. Mark finally has enough money for the video game system. Mark is happy. His budget plan helped him save for something he really wanted. Mark asks his mother to take him to the bank. Take a look at this visual. You can see that in month 1, Mark saved $100. Month 2 that he was working, he saved another $100, which means he has $200 saved. And in the 3rd month of working, he saved another $100 to earn a grand total of $300, which is what he needs to buy his video game system. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our question at the bottom. Why was Mark able to pay for the video game system? What was it that he did that worked? All right, go ahead and go back into the text and see if you can answer this question. Go ahead and pause and discuss. At the bank, Mark fills out a withdrawal slip to get his money. He writes the date. He writes his first and last name. He writes the amount of money he would like to take out. He also fills in the savings account number. Mark gives the slip to the bank teller. She gives Mark $300 in cash. Take a look at our question at the bottom. It reads, can you describe the process of filling out a withdrawal slip. There are a couple steps that you or I would have to do if we walked into a bank and wanted to take money from our savings account. All right, so if you go back into the text, you'll probably notice on a couple different lines that there will be answers to your question about the steps needed to complete a withdrawal slip. Go ahead and reread and discuss with someone nearby. Mark has the money to pay for the video game system. Mark goes to the store and buys it. Mark feels proud. He earned money working at his job. He followed his budget plan and saved money. Now he gets what he wants. Why do you think Mark is proud that he paid for his video game system by himself? This is an opinion type question. All right, you can go back into the text if you would like, but I think you should be able to answer this question on your own, just knowing what it feels like to accomplish such a great goal, just like Mark has. All right, go ahead and discuss after you pause the video. All right, here we go, you guys. We are back at our post-reading discussion question. If you remember, before we started reading, we talked about how one thing that we wanted to focus on while we were reading was, what is one way Mark uses his budget plan? I want you to take some time and talk about how Mark uses his budget plan in this story. You may find this communication board to help support your ideas, to help support what it is you would like to share. If this is not needed, go ahead and skip it and simply just answer this question with someone nearby. I hope you enjoyed today, you guys. And until next time, take care.